Beginner's French. Le Navet Enorme. Today we're going to be learning a story in French. You may have come across this story in English, so hands up as we go through if you can recognise it. We're going to start by learning the words that we're going to come across in this story. So the first noun we come across is le fermier, the farmer. Can you say that after me? Le fermier. Le fermier. Well done. La fermière, the farmer's wife. La fermière. Fils, the boy. Le fils. As you can see, we don't hear that L. The same with this one. La fille. La fille, the girl. Le chien, the dog. Le chien. Le chat, the cat. Le chat. La souris. La souris, the mouse. Le navet is the turnip, and we have an adjective added on here. Le navet énorme. You can probably work out what énorme means. It's a near cognate. It's nearly the same as an English word. The enormous turnip. Verbs that you're going to come across in here. We have tirer, which is pull, to pull. Appelle, which means call, which you'll have come across in je m'appelle, I call myself. Bouge pas. So bouge sounds a bit like budge, it's move, and ne and the pas, either side of the verb, turn it into a negative. Does not move. So those are the nouns and verbs that we're going to come across in this story. I suggest that you pause the video here, go back through all the vocabulary, the nouns and the verbs, and come up with some kind of action or movement that you can use for each of those as we go through the story, which will help you to remember those words. And now we're on to the story of Le Navet Enorme, the enormous turnip. Those of you who've come across this story in English, you'll know where we're going. Those of you who haven't, you are in for a treat. We're going to go through the story twice. The first time, only the French will be on the screen. And then the second time, the English is there as well, so you can see the translation. But I would like you to go through this story a few times, so you're confident to join in with it. And then you can perhaps make some puppets using pegs or lolly sticks and card so that you can join in with the story and act it out. Il était une fois une navet énorme. Un jour, le fermier décide de manger le navet énorme. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. Le fermier appelle la fermière. La fermière tire le fermier. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. La fermière appelle le fils. Le fils tire la fermière. La fermière tire le fermier. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. Le fils appelle la fille. La fille tire le fils. Le fils tire la fermière. La fermière tire le fermier. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. La fille appelle le chien. Le chien tire la fille. La fille tire le fils. Le fils tire la fermière. La fermière tire le fermier. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. Le chien appelle le chat. Le chat tire le chien. Le chien tire la fille. La fille tire le fils tire la fermière tire le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. Le chat appelle la souris tire le chat tire le chien tire la fille tire le fils tire la fermière tire le fermier tire le navet énorme. Et le navet énorme bouge. Now we're going to look at the translation so we can see what the story was all about in English, although hopefully you'll have a good idea from looking at those vocabulary words at the beginning. So we have le navet énorme, the enormous turnip. Notice how the adjective, the enormous, goes after the noun, the turnip. So in French, this happens quite often. The adjective goes after the noun. Il était une fois un navet énorme. There was once an enormous turnip. Un jour, le fermier décide de manger le navet énorme. So here's a few words you may not have come across. Un jour, one day, le fermier, the farmer, decides, de manger, to eat, le navet énorme, the enormous turnip. Le fermier tire le navet énorme, mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. So the farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais, so here's a brilliant word to use in your French, but, got a conjunction there. Mais, le navet énorme, the enormous turnip, ne bouge pas, does not move. So the farmer pulls the enormous turnip, but the enormous turnip does not move. Introduce our third verb. Le fermier appelle la fermière. The farmer calls the farmer's wife. Now we're going to come back to our other verb, tire. La fermière, the farmer's wife, pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. But the enormous turnip does not move. So you can see that we've now got a repeating pattern. Each character pulls the character before, and then the farmer pulls the enormous turnip, and the enormous turnip does not move. So now who's the farmer's wife going to call? La fermière appelle le fils. The farmer's wife calls the boy. Le fils tire la fermière. The boy pulls the farmer's wife. La fermière tire le fermier. The farmer's wife pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. But the enormous turnip does not move. Who is the boy going to call? The boy, le fils, appelle la fille. The boy calls the girl. Now she's going to start pulling as well. La fille tire le fils. The girl pulls the boy. Le fils tire la fermière. The boy pulls the farmer's wife. La fermière tire le fermier. The farmer's wife pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas, but the enormous turnip does not move. La fille appelle le chien. The girl calls the dog. Now he starts pulling. Le chien tire la fille. The dog pulls the girl. La fille tire le fils. The girl pulls the boy. Le fils tire la fermière. The boy pulls the farmer's wife. La fermière tire la fermière. The farmer's wife pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. This is a very stubborn, enormous turnip. It's still not moving. Fine, not finally, we've got another one to go yet. Le chien, the dog, is going to call the cat. The dog calls the cat. Le chien appelle le chat. Le chat tire le chien. The cat pulls the dog. Le chien tire la fille. The dog pulls the girl. La fille tire le fils. The girl pulls the boy. Le fils tire la fermière. The boy pulls the farmer's wife. La fermière tire le fermier. The farmer's wife pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. Mais le navet énorme ne bouge pas. But the enormous turnip does not move. Now we've got a mouse. Le chat appelle la souris. The cat calls the mouse. La souris tire le chat. The mouse pulls the cat. Le chat tire le chien. The cat pulls the dog. Le chien tire la fille. The dog pulls the girl. La fille tire le fils. The girl pulls the boy. Le fils tire la fermière. The boy pulls the farmer's wife. La fermière tire le fermier. The farmer's wife pulls the farmer. Le fermier tire le navet énorme. The farmer pulls the enormous turnip. And we've got something different going on here. And le navet énorme bouge. The enormous turnip. And here you can see we've got the move without the nut and the pat. It does move this time. That is the story of the enormous turnip, and I would recommend you now go back to the middle of the video and go through the story 2 or 3 times with you joining in with your actions or your moves for each character and for each verb, and go through that story. You could perhaps make some puppets with some lolly sticks and card or something like that, so you can retell the story along with the video, that middle story of the video, and have fun.